Hello children, and welcome to today's class. Now today we're going to talk about Aesop's Fables. Aesop's Fables, today's lesson. Now Aesop, he was a Greek slave that lived a long time ago during the 6th and 7th centuries. Now, Aesop, he loved to tell stories. Aesop told stories that were called fables. Fables, write this word down, fables, for your vocabulary, fables. A fable is a story that teaches a lesson called a moral. When we learn a lesson from a story, it's called a moral. The lesson that we learn is called a moral. Write that word down, moral. These morals became so popular during Aesop's time that they defined Western culture. Western culture are the values that we share in Europe, North and South America, and in parts of the Mediterranean. Right? Western culture. So even though we don't speak the same language, we hold the same values. We learn the same lessons about what is right and what is wrong. And most of the time we learn these lessons from fables or from stories from people like Aesop. Right? Yeah, Aesop. Now Aesop wrote many stories. And one of the stories that he wrote is very popular. It's a really nice story. It's called The Hare and the Tortoise. The Hare and the Tortoise. Now what I want you to do is to write down what you think the story will be about. The Hare and the Tortoise. How are we going to do this? Well, let's just think about it for a moment. A hare and the tortoise, they're two very different animals. A hare, right? A hare is like a large rabbit. It's not a bunny. It looks like a large rabbit. Okay, and it usually lives in deserts and dry places, and sometimes it lives in the forests. And these animals are very fast. And hares are mammals. Mammals are warm-blooded animals. Warm-blooded animals. A warm-blooded animal is an animal that no matter how hot it is outside or how cold it is outside, he keeps the same body temperature. His body temperature is always the same. Now a tortoise is another kind of an animal. A tortoise is a reptile. You remember what a reptile is? That's right. A reptile is a cold-blooded animal. It's a cold-blooded animal. Now the difference between a hare and a tortoise basically is that the hare has babies, and he takes care of the babies. They take care of their babies, they nurse their young, they give them milk until they're old enough to grow up by themselves. But reptiles lay eggs, and once they lay eggs, they go off and leave the eggs alone. The babies hatch, and they're off on their own. The parents don't take care of them, okay? That's the main difference between a mammal and a reptile. A mammal and a reptile. Mammals are warm-blooded animals, reptiles are cold-blooded animals. All right? Now we're going to use these thoughts to try to guess what the story is about. You mentioned that a hare is very fast, right? A hare is very fast. And what about a tortoise? How does a tortoise go about? Right? It plods along very slowly. It wants to get from one point to another. It has to plod. That means that it walks very slowly and in a clumsy fashion. Okay? So, can you guess what the story is going to be about? Maybe you've heard the story before. Okay, so what I want to do right now is, now that you've written what you think the story is about, let's read the story carefully. All right? Let's pre-read. Let's read for meaning and try to understand some words. After we do our initial reading, we'll read the entire story on your own. All right? The Hare and the Tortoise. The hare was once boasting of his speed before the other animals. "I've never been beaten," said he. "When I put forth my full speed, I challenge anyone here to race with me." To race with me. After I put on my full speed, not slow speed, Not fast speed, but full speed. Think about that for a minute. Where do you see a noun? Where do you see an adjective? Okay. The tortoise said quietly, "I accept your challenge." "Ha ha ha ha," said the rabbit. "That's a good joke." Think about that. A good joke. Do we see a noun? Do we see an adjective? "I could dance around you all the way." "Keep your boasting till you've beaten me," said the tortoise. "Shall we race?" So a course was set. A course was set. And the race was fixed. And the start was made. The hare almost darted out at once, but soon stopped to look back and saw the tortoise plodding along slowly. So to show his contempt for the tortoise, write that word down, contempt. To show his contempt for the tortoise, he lay down to sleep. Right? But the tortoise plodded along and plodded along. When the hare awoke, see, the hare is asleep, and here's the tortoise plodding along. Soon the tortoise was way ahead of the hare. The tortoise saw that the hare saw that the tortoise was just near to the winning post. The winning post. So he started to run, tried to run very, very fast. But he could not run up in time to save the race. The race. So the tortoise won the race. Okay? And the tortoise said to the hare, "Plodding wins the race." Now there's a moral to that story. There's a moral to that story, which we will discuss after you finish reading the entire story by yourselves. Right? So what I want you to do is set up into 4 groups, and you're going to read the story on your own. All right? You're going to read this story on your own, and when you're done, we're going to get together, and we're going to see if we can read the story one more time and identify as many nouns as you can, as many adjectives as you can, and as many verbs as you can. And if there are any other words that you don't understand, now's the time to ask questions, okay? Before you read on your own. We've already read for meaning, now we're reading for understanding. And then what we're going to do is we're going to write a little report about the story, okay? And we're going to get these ideas by making mind maps. Just like we did the other day, remember? Make mind maps. You take words, right? You take 3 major words, and you choose other words that are associated with that word, so we can get ideas on what to write about. Okay, and I want you to discuss, and I want you to get together and see if you can brainstorm. See if you can brainstorm what to write about. All right? Okay, let's start.